I see a lot of, looks like Vancouver media on the call. So if you have questions on the Zoom, go ahead and click the raise your hand button. We'll start with some questions here in the room, and then we'll get the questions on Zoom after that. I see Coach walking in, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Christina, if you want to start the recording, please.
Wow.
Recording in progress.
Yeah. You want me to stand up?
No, it looks good on camera, Coach. All right, folks, we'll go ahead and start our official post-match press conference after this evening's CONCACAF Champions Cup match here in Spokane, Washington, between Seattle Sounders FC and Vancouver Whitecaps FC. We're joined now by Vancouver head coach Jesper Sorensen. Coach, thank you for taking some time with us after the game here. Obviously not the result that your team wanted, but I'll just start off and just ask if you could give us your initial thoughts on the way your team played and on the match overall.
Yeah, in general, I was very happy with the performance from the players. I think that we got what we wanted, a 1-0 lead, and I think the players in general played with the right quality, with the right attitude, with the right mentality, and also with the right effort. So in general, I think that was a good game from our side. Of course, we had to chase all through the game. I think we made it too difficult for ourselves a week ago, but we had a strong belief that we can do it, and when you're at 3-0 down, you simply have no room for mistakes or errors, and you have to play it almost perfectly, and we were not able to. They were defending very well for large parts of the games, and they were not. It was not necessary for them to open up, even though we were in front 1-0, and that's just how it is. And I have to obviously also not have to. I want to congratulate Seattle moving on in this tournament and wish them the best for the remainder of this tournament. So over 2 games they beat us, and it was fair and square.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with some questions here in the room before getting onto Zoom. We'll start over here with Josh.
Thanks for doing this. So what did you think worked well, especially in that first half for you guys?
No, I think first half was good. Second half was even better. When you think about controlling the game, I think we had good control over our build-up. I think we played with. A lot of the passes that we won. We got to the areas we want. We had a couple of moments we maybe could have profited from, especially from our left side. AC did well, and posed a threat, but we could also see that the referee, was not happy with what he saw in the situation. So it was difficult for him to get something, and I took him out also because he had a yellow card. But in general, I think we played with the right force, with the right pace. I think that we played at a pace that gave us the control over the game, but again, we didn't play up against a team that had to open up. They were pretty comfortable standing in the low block, and even though we scored the goal, we still had to push and push and push, and we just needed the opening for the second goal, and that's where we have to be also realistic and honest. The last passes, especially in the second half, where we played up through them and we played very close to their goal. We didn't have the quality, and we didn't have the quality in the finishing in those moments, because everything leading up to that, I think, was really good.
And then this venue was a variable that both teams were having to deal with. What did you make of this whole situation here? How did you guys bus here? Did you fly here? How was it?
No, we fly in. It was a great venue. It was a great venue here in Spokane, and I think that it's, definitely okay. The pitch is a little bit small, and it's too narrow, but the venue is great and intimate atmosphere. Where also as a team, and you also have the audience very close to you, and even though it's not that many, it's still a good atmosphere, and I think the venue was good in general, and I also think that it was in general a good game with a good nerve to it. And unfortunately for us, it came out with the result that we didn't want. So, but the venue and it was good.
Thanks for doing it, Coach. You talked about the field being a little narrow. Did you feel like that was a disadvantage? Was it difficult for your team to get the width that you wanted in your play with the narrower field? And it looked like the substitutions for Brian really worked. Did any of the substitutions surprise you, or was it just more of kind of the way the game developed there at the end?
Forget about the pitch. It was a good pitch, and that's the same for both teams. I think we had the opportunities to play the way we want, and we had I think we had all the moments we needed. We just needed the last bit of timing, and we just needed the last bit of execution on the pass that should set the teammate up to become a chance. And you don't get clear chances when you play up against 10 men standing on the last 20 meters. That's not the chances you get. You have to get something, maybe a loose ball in the box, or maybe something else, and then the combinations on a very limited area. You need to get some out of that, and then maybe a 1v1. But in general, I think we the combinations through Brian and close to Brian, I think was okay. It can be. We can't succeed every time. I think we had the movements around him, and just him and Thomas had a little bit. I had a little bit ping pong a couple of times where it was just difficult to get the shot in and get a decent shot in, and it's that's the last bit of execution we just needed to make it 2-0 and then make it very interesting.
Coach, your team was a finalist at CONCACAF Champions Cup and MLS. The Sounders won Leagues Cup, and they were the last MLS team to win CONCACAF Champions Cup. Do you think these are the two best teams from MLS in CONCACAF Champions Cup?
I would not say that. There are many good MLS teams. Seattle is one of them. I think we're one of them. I think, we've seen teams do very well also in this competition. But it's you could say that it's two of the heavyweights from the MLS, and we are very fortunate and happy that we're one of them. So I think it's good that we have quality teams in the MLS, and hopefully we have some who can go all the way. We were close last year, even though that the final was not our finest hour, but there's still good teams to play, and MLS teams to play in the CONCACAF Cup, and I wish the MLS teams the best, and hope that they can take the CONCACAF Cup to the MLS.
All right. Thank you all here in the room. We'll go ahead now and switch over to questions from Zoom. For the journalists on there, if you have a question, please click the raise your hand button, and we'll start working some of you guys in. I'll give it a couple of moments here. All right. See one from Michael McCall. Michael, I'm going to open your line. You should be allowed to talk now.
Hey, Jesper. Commiserations on tonight. Just wondering about an update on Andres Kubis.
He felt something in his quad, and we have to get an assessment of how bad it is. We don't know yet, but he felt something in his quad, and we had to take him out.
Okay, that's great. That's all from me. Thanks.
Okay, not seeing any additional questions, so we'll wrap up with that. Coach, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck on the weekend in San Jose.
Thank you.
for press conference here in CONCACAF Champions Cup. We're joined now by Seattle head coach Brian Schmetzer. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the win tonight and in the tie. I'll just start off. Wouldn't mind just give us your overall thoughts on the game? How you felt like your team played this evening?
Well, the team started off a little fatigued. I don't know if it was physical or mental, but we've certainly had a stretch of road games because of the preparations at Lumen for the World Cup. But again, they responded. We took an early goal and then we kind of solidified things a little bit. And then at the start of the second half, I'm always kind of a conservative coach. I wanted the guys to start the game to see if they can, impact the game after we made some adjustments in the second half. We changed the way we defended a little bit. And it was okay. But the three guys that came on first made a real impact. Paul Rothrock, Danny Masowski, and Peter Kingston, they came on and did a good job. And then Nicola came on and obviously, did a nice job there as well. But, I credit the three guys coming in to make an impact. What I told the team at halftime, which is kind of our mantra, is, guys are fatigued and tired. But the expectation of this team is that the players that start the game will run for as hard as they can for as long as they can, knowing with confidence that if they get tired, then the next guy is going to jump on the field and do the exact same thing. Run for as hard as they can, for as long as they can, as smart as they can. And that's what makes a cohesive team. And that is one of the calling cards of this particular group. I think you started to see some of it last year. That's a tight group and they all play for each other. And I actually really enjoy that.
Thank you for that. We'll start with questions here in the room and then we'll transition over to Zoom after that.
Yeah, one of those subs that came in was Peter Kingston as a player who I guess technically is still not on a full-time contract. What did you see from him? He had a pretty impressive, maybe 2 assists in this one.
2 assists. It's not just the assists, Jeremiah. I mean, the kid puts everything into the game. So where he is in our ecosystem, I hate that corporate word, but where he fits, how he does, I'll talk to Adrian, I'll talk to Craig. We'll find a spot for him. He gives everything. Tonight he made plays. The other day against San Jose, he made plays. So we'll have to figure that out. But, he made some plays tonight that were critical for us to have a win, not just a draw, but a win, which sets us up in a good way when we move further in this tournament. 1-1 would have been fun. Look, if we lost 1-0, we would have gone through, but that's not the best result. 1-1, when we got the 1-1, okay, fine. But then at 1-1, for him to run in behind and play that ball across for Paul Masowski almost got 2. And then Paul coming into the back post to get to 2-1 really sets us up in a good way.
Coach, to keep talking about the substitutions, obviously the game got a little bit sloppy. You felt like you needed a little bit of that spark plug, and Paul Rothrock comes in and does that for your team. Can you talk about his performance, and then does Danny Masowski scoring make your job even harder when it comes to that 9 position?
Well, for sure, because Danny came on and did what he did last year, which was put himself in front of the goal. So he's a natural kind of instinctual goal scorer. He needs service, of course, and that's what Peter provided. But that's Danny. We saw that goal from Danny a lot last year, 18 times. As far as Paul Rothrock is concerned, I mean, he's on a roll. I mean, 3 goals, 3 games, 4 total for the year. Whether he starts, whether he comes on. First game against Colorado when Jordan goes down. I mean, Paul is really, playing at a high level.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on the win. First of all, kind of just want to shift things over to the venue side of things. How did this kind of, quote unquote, home away from home feel? How did the fans feel? And, how close did this, different venue, albeit in the same state, feel to Lumen Field? Thank you.
So, obviously it's a little smaller, but it was loud. And I appreciated all of the Sounder fans that were in the building. The eastern side of this state is a good soccer community. Again, I remember going back years ago, we used to play games in Yakima, exhibition games. We were with the USL, and they were well-attended matches and everything. The Reign are coming here to play some of their home games. This is a great venue. And people in Spokane were treated tonight with a good performance, a good game. They'll get more games when the Reign come. I mean, it's a nice little stadium. And I'm super, super excited for the growth of soccer in this country. On a bigger scale, it's the World Cup and then MLS. But then you've got franchises like this that are coming and putting in a really good, nice stadium. And the feel, the atmosphere, everything was tremendous tonight. The proximity, players to the fans, it makes it feel intimate. And one of the things I've always said was that the Sounders are the relationship between the players and the fans. And the fans tonight were super happy. Players were thankful that a lot of people showed up and watched them play. And I think that was one of the things that, kept them going.
Okay, we'll do one more here in the room, and then we'll switch over to questions on Zoom.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. I just wanted to get your reaction and just how it feels to move on in this tournament.
Well, moving on with 6 points, that's critical. But look, that's an experienced group. I know there were some young kids that played big roles, but we have an experienced team in these types of competitions. I'll remind everybody that we're the only team that has won this competition. Vancouver came close last year. Cruz Azul is a very good team. Okay. But we're the only ones that have done it. Other teams have been close. And even going back to when Zig was a coach, we'd always done well. And in these competitions, I think that's just part of the winning tradition of this club.
Sorry, one more question here in the room before we switch over to Zoom.
Yeah, you mentioned the Reign are going to be playing here. Do you have any sort of messages for the fans that are going to be able to see 3 more high level?
Well, I'm going to call Laura first and make sure she's prepared for a little bit narrow field, but the turf is good, and I'll give her the rundown. And then as far as the fans are concerned, I mean, they're going to see top soccer. They saw some top men's soccer tonight, and they should come and support the Reign because the Reign are a good team. I mean, that's a good team with a bunch of good young players. So I'm hopeful that the people come out and support them as well.
Okay, we'll switch over to questions on Zoom. I see one from Kasim Ali. Kasim, your line should be open. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. This is the 4th straight road win for you guys, and also the 4th straight time you've had the ball for 40% or less of the game. What do you kind of make of that trend? I know we talked about possession being so big on the road. Had it 40% or less again tonight. What do you make of
that? Let's deal with stats because, look, I can appreciate stats and, the modern game is, stats, data, all that sort of stuff is important. But how games play out, it's still sports. So the game against San Jose tonight, we were at home, but we had a 3-0 lead. The first home game against Colorado, there's score lines. There's different reasons for 40% or 60-40, 55-45. There's a lot of reasons for all of that sort of stuff. I think when we play, we always try and come out on the front foot. We always try and dictate tempo. We always try and score the early goal or the first goal. That's key. That's the key message. But sometimes it just doesn't happen, doesn't manifest itself. I knew Jesper was going to have his team ready. He's a very, very top coach. That's a good franchise. And so, yeah, we were going to be under it. We were going to be under pressure just because the nature of 3-0, they were going to come out. Now, had Albert scored that first goal in the first minute of the game, maybe that changes some of their momentum. But again, that's sports.
All right, we'll do 2 more questions on Zoom. We'll go Nico Antun and then Felipe Makeda to wrap up. Nico, your line should be open. Go ahead.
Hi, Brian. Congrats on the win. Down 1-0 at halftime in the second leg. What was the atmosphere like in the locker room at that point? And from then, what do you think went well with the task of shutting down Vancouver defensively to avoid the comeback quest before Moose's goal?
Well, I wasn't happy at 1-0 down, so I laid into him a little bit at halftime. We changed the way we defended a little bit because Laborda was killing us with some long diagonals, so we tilted the field in the other direction, and I think that worked. So some of the tactical changes worked, and then the subs came on and finished the job.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll wrap up with Felipe Makeda. Felipe, your line should be open now. Go ahead.
Thank you. Coach Brian, congratulations. You talk about the defense a little bit, but I would like to know more about how are you changing or you're adjusting the system for the whole team defensively. I remember having last season some issues, and also you can tell me a little bit more of the next man up, because it seems to me that still works and works great.
So, Felipe, the defending on set pieces, we've talked a lot about. The overall defending this year has been very, very good. Again, Jackson Reagan has been very good. Alex Roldan may take Yaimar's spot. You never know. And I'm only saying that because someone in the front row is Yaimar's best friend. So there's a lot of different reasons for that. The entire defending has to get back to what we were in 2024. 2025, we gave up too many set piece goals and sloppy mistakes. So the concentration to close out a game like in San Jose, the concentration to not let Vancouver score the second goal, all of those things are important things that the coaches that I have talked about on film, on the field, in our meetings, just to make sure we're there. And then, Felipe, I will tell you this, that we're going to continue to work on the offensive side of things, because, when you score the first goal, an early goal like tonight, if Albert scores that goal, it makes the defending a lot easier.
All right, Coach, we'll wrap up with that. Thank you again for the time. Congratulations.